Welcome to Go Home Heat, a sports entertainment podcast. I have Justin here with me, KP, and we are talking Raw. Randy Orton threatens Keith Lee as we open the show, lets him know that if we continue to fight, which they will be fighting later, that I will kick you in the head.
Threatens him with a massively long video package, too.
Yes. And then Drew McIntyre, who has been in concussion protocol for over a week in a pre-shoot by the WWE on AEW, steals an ambulance and drives his way to the arena, in which
I don't see how that's a surprise attack. I saw you drive in
with an ambulance with lights coming in a horn.
Yeah, dude.
Surprise attack.
Surprise attack. What?
Oh my God! And so then he winds up kicking Randy upside the head and then I guess Adam Pearce is now the GM of both shows. He is some form of a minion that gets yelled at by Vince McMahon, right? And he wants security there to make sure that we keep Retribution out, and they don't seem to even be able to keep an ambulance out with a world champion in it that they know who he is. So,
we've ensured that Drew McIntyre has an American driver's license. Should he be driving?
First of all, I'm surprised he could drive because it looked to me like the steering wheel was on the right side.
Yeah.
Which, there's no way.
Yeah.
So kayfabe or whatever, he wasn't really driving that.
No.
He was in the passenger seat.
Yeah, he was just pretending. They had a little person driving the vehicle in his lap.
A child.
That's better.
Okay, and so they told Drew, get out of here,
and
don't come back. And he said, yes, okay, no problem.
Well, he got out of the ring too. I mean,
yes. The Hurt Business attacks Random Janitor because they are not the help random employee business. They're in the hurt business.
Exactly.
And bad guys beat up good people.
Yes. We don't know that janitor's a good guy. What if that janitor's like a murderer or something?
You're right. The janitor had it coming.
Yeah.
But not for anything he did in that segment.
No, not for that.
Just life choices led him to getting kicked upside down. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then we wind up with a match between Apollo, Ricochet, and Cedric versus Lashley, MVP, and Sheldon, the Hurt Business. And we wind up with a good little match until Cedric decides he's had enough of these beatdowns. He got beat down pre-match here, which is a month long of MVP trying to convince him to get out of catering and get into the Hurt Business, beat up backstage, and here we go. We have him go heel, and he succumbs to MVP's advances.
Oh no.
And he also to the beatdowns. He just gives up and says, you know what, I'd rather be beating down than getting beat down. And this leads to Apollo getting pinned, and this was a good segment, I felt like. I enjoyed it, and I think this is great for Cedric's career. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, speaking of which, we have prospectively two tag teams in this match when you think of any way that Apollo, Cedric, and Ricochet could have been done. We tried to make Cedric and Ricochet a tag team.
Mm-hmm.
Sheldon and MVP.
Did we really try that? Was that tried?
They wrestled and lost a bunch.
Yeah, that's
right. And then we have a Street Profits. I mentioned this to say where we're going in the next segment. Street Profits wrestled Garza and Andrade for the 33rd straight week.
Yeah, them teasing a breakup.
Yeah, and Andrade gets stuck there because Garza leaves him by himself, and he gets beat, which is par for the course here. And then we figure out that Raw must be noticing that this is what they've been doing with their tag team division, because now Shinsuke and Cesaro come out, who are the champions of the other show, SmackDown.
Due to the quarterly interbrand invitation. Did you know this existed?
I've never heard those words in that order before.
No, I have not either.
I'd heard invitational, and I've heard quarterly, but not actually on a WWE show.
No. No, this makes...
Because Vince doesn't mention his quarterly profits because he doesn't want you to know how rich he is.
Yeah.
He'd be steady firing people talking about, we got to make good business decisions.
Smart business decisions. I need a new pool.
And Meltzer goes, they made more money last year than they've ever made.
In the whole history of the company.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Meanwhile, everybody says they're dead.
Yeah.
I wonder, Sidebar. I wonder if he's going to, as much money as he's made not having live audiences and not having to move Raw around the country, I wonder if he would maybe do this, maybe not do the Thunderdome every week, but to make Raw and SmackDown periodically moving companies, and then maybe 2 weeks out of a month shoot from one place.
Yeah.
To save himself money.
That's not a bad idea. And dude, you quit making them wrestle 5 house shows a week.
Right. Well, here's the trick though. If he's paying him the money he pays him, he may want him working.
Yeah, I don't know if you make as much money. I mean, it depends on if he does the math and sees, all right, by going out there and doing this, I have to expend this much money to make this much money. But if I just did, they can even film how dark matches and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, they do already. Main event is on every week. 205 Live's on every week. They already do that. But, okay, back to wrestling. Well, that was wrestling, but you know what I'm saying. Shinsuke and Cesaro strategically points out that the Street Profits have been busy fighting ninjas, eating turkey, going to Renaissance fairs, that at some point they might want to wrestle like they do on SmackDown, and it's a legitimate point. And of course the Street Profits go deep into their bag of tricks and say we want the smoke.
Didn't Shinsuke cut him off and say he wants the smoke first?
Yeah, he cut him off. And dude, Shinsuke's the goods.
Well, I almost think I saw Montez Ford. I think that they were kind of marking out a little bit to wrestle Shinsuke Nakamura.
Cesaro too, I think.
Yeah.
I think that if you're in the business, you look at Cesaro differently than you do if you are not in the business. Even if you're Montez.
Yeah.
And you're a physical freak, you still look at that guy and know he's a freak differently than I am.
Yeah. When Mark Henry says, who's the most deceptively strong person on the roster? Cesaro. Who's the strongest person on the roster? Cesaro.
Right. And yet there are many people walking around the company that Cesaro's giving 30, 40, 50 pounds.
Yes.
And it's a given he's stronger than all of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, so we're going to get a championship, but they're going to wrestle each other next week on Raw. Street Profits versus Cesaro and Shinsuke, and I would assume this is going to be more than one match.
I would hope so.
But this looks like I'm okay with this because I feel like Raw has not done a good job of giving us multiple tag teams. We see many guys that were longtime tag team staples, your Sheamuses, your Uso, your Big E, moving out into singles competition right now. Why not create 6 really good tag teams and have, instead of having 5 tag teams on each show where 2 of them are really good?
I agree.
So we're going to move on to what is a Raw Underground Challenge announcements where Kevin Owens and Aleister Black will be fighting each other in the Underground.
And boy, if you were excited like I was to see that, don't get your hopes up.
Ninja interrupt Truth's dinner. What a segment we had. One's head was actually in the dish in the middle of the table. You've never seen that spot ever. Anything. It's fantastic work there.
Oh my God.
Then we have solo star Peyton Royce versus Femme Fatale Billie Kay. Peyton wins in a fairly quick one. Billie Kay, I'm worried about her progress because I see that they love Peyton Royce and I know how they can become
min-max. One's going to get the super push and one's going to get the boot.
Yes, they book with spotlights.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And Billie Kay, Billie Kay is not great in the ring yet.
No.
And I don't know that she ever will be, but I do know she's entertaining.
Yes.
And so I don't know where she goes from here because I do know that Peyton is both entertaining and very good in the ring. And so they're going to easily jump her up. Yes.
I'm just prepared to believe. I give her an opportunity to be great. I mean, Fandango's great now. And, he started out way worse. So.
Right. I agree.
She's got the potential, but I don't know if they're going to give her that. The same.
Peyton or Billie?
Billie. I think she's going to get really pushed down the
Yeah, I could see a mic in her hand next week and her being on a talk show or something.
Yeah.
Which she can do that too.
Yeah.
She could do what Alexa Bliss does, or did. She could have a moment of bliss show type thing.
Yeah.
Billy Kay with whatever and give it to him.
Kayfabe.
Thank you. Somebody out there listening to that. Kayfabe. That's the show. Drew is told to leave again after he comes back, and no problem. He's going to leave. He left his phone somewhere in the building. The Mysterio family. And Buddy says...
There's more of them, Kevin.
It's their fault. They keep reproducing. There is more of them. We have the sister there.
Yeah.
Yes. Buddy says it's their fault that Seth has dumped him. He's very upset with the breakup. And he's going to prove his worth to to Seth Rollins tonight by beating up Dominic Mysterio in a street fight. And Dominic accepts the challenge.
Because... Murphy couldn't beat him in a wrestling match. So, what?
Yes.
That helps who?
Maybe he wanted the venom. He wanted to get his venom out. It wasn't smart booking on his part if he was booking the match.
No.
Allowing for other people to help.
Yeah.
Right. But also allowing for things for young Dominic to jump off of.
Yes.
Which was good booking by somebody because that's what he does the best.
That's what he does good right now.
Right. Asuka and Nikki versus Natty and Lana, and Asuka gets the pin after tagging herself in a squash where Nikki was going to be able to get the win anyway. Mickey was going to be able to get the win, but Asuka kind of tags herself in there and slides in on that W, and we're getting Asuka and Mickie James next week, and two legends get to wrestle each other on a Raw.
I think that's good.
They're pubbing Raw next week.
In your face.
It's in your face. In your face. Okay, and we have Cedric Sheldon backstage. Sheldon says, if you're fooling, trying to hornswoggle us, I'll know.
Yeah, because you'll be a tiny man.
Let me tell you something.
Living under a ring.
When we walked in here this morning, there was a janitor that thought he could get one by on us.
Uh-huh.
You don't see him around here anymore.
No, you don't.
Licking his wounds. He's in the back of Drew's ambulance.
No! Poor janitor.
Yes, okay.
Poor janitor.
Going broke around with Ricochet and Apollo is what made him switch, as he reassures them as Cedric reassures them that he is a part of the Hurt Business for good.
I'm glad they kind of did that part, because it does set up the possibility that maybe he's a double agent.
Gives you something to think about. Absolutely. Well done. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Now, they wind up with a talking segment for the Hurt Business, the MVP lounge type thing. And then the Viking Raiders and Apollo and Ricochet come out and attack and clear the ring, which turns into the rare 8-man tag match.
Yeah. Which
winds up being great.
For a while.
I feel that Cedric and Ricochet are getting into a program here. Ricochet loses.
Well, Ivar got hurt.
Correct. And I wanted to talk about that because I feel like this was not a shoot on... Obviously, this was not a shoot on AEW, but Ivar jumps out of the ring. He's doing a suicide dive.
Uh-huh.
He hurts his knee.
It's back, isn't it?
He hurts his spine. Right, correct. He had a cervical issue. He hurts his spine. I thought it was his knee the way his leg hit, but it was his spine. He throws up the X immediately. He throws up the X. The official doesn't. If you notice, when they give still shots later, or not still shots, when they go back and review it later, if you notice, MVP did not move.
No, he did not.
Because he didn't know the dude was saying something about his back, and he didn't want to make a mistake.
He was a consummate professional.
Right.
He immediately froze.
Allowed Ivar to stay on his legs so that he wasn't moving his spine at all until the medics got there and positioned him in a way that he could move.
Yeah.
The medics got there and they took care of him, and I believe this is what actually happened because Ricochet kicked out.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it a 3 count anyway. Yeah. I don't think that match was supposed to end right there.
No. It wasn't. There was definitely a kerfluffle there that somebody didn't get the note there that we had to do a quick ending.
Ricochet didn't know.
Ricochet didn't know.
And the referee just straight 1, 2, 3'd him. And when Ricochet looked at him, he was like, "Nah, dude, he's hurt."
Mm-hmm.
That dude's hurt. What we can't have right now, because whatever was supposed to happen next was supposed to happen over there on that side of the ring where that dude was laying down with medics.
Yep.
And they couldn't do that. So he just went ahead. I believe that's what makes sense, right?
Yeah, that was the smart play if they did it.
And good for them.
Yeah.
Well, it's the only thing that makes sense for Rick to kick out on 2 and it to be a 3 count, blatant, and him go, nope, it's over. You know what I mean? So I think that no matter who was supposed to win, he just ended it right there because that was a good spot to end it. And there's a guy laying there screaming about his back.
Yeah, and it gives you, and you can use it. It's drama.
Oh, absolutely. That's coincidence. But they did what was, to me, they did what was important right there and then
protect.
And then worried about the rest. We'll clean it up later.
Yeah, it's not like one of those things, though, where in any sporting events you have mess ups. So if you shouldn't worry about that stuff as much. If you just go ahead and do the safe thing for the wrestlers, you can storyline your way out of just about anything.
Absolutely. Well, it's wrestling.
Yeah, dude.
Like even if you have that's what drove me crazy about the really bad. Well, it was a loser quits the company. If Matt loses, he quits the company. Takes on that. It's like, look, it's wrestling. You can put a mask on that dude next week, and he can go out there. And Matt, you don't even need to think about this in the moment because who cares?
Yeah.
The dude's hurt.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't know he's hurt because he's knocked himself because he went unconscious and came back, right?
Yeah.
So he's whether he's concussed or not, he's not supposed to be moving around, climbing stuff.
No.
And I do believe that company will learn from that. I don't think we'll see something like this again.
I would like to hope that they will never make that mistake again.
I think that I absolutely think that. But in Matt's specific case, even though it shouldn't matter in the moment, he's literally got multiple personality disorder on the show.
Yeah, dude.
So he could totally come back the next week and be one of the other 4 people.
Yeah, technically, when you looked at this when we looked at this contract, it said Matt Hardy.
Right.
Was gone. It didn't say anything about
Brother Nero or whatever.
Broken Matt or anything like that.
Yeah.
Who all have their own specific contracts with AEW. That would be excellent.
Yes.
Like you have to beat me like 6 times.
Well, then you can start breaking him out at the Battle Royals too.
Yeah.
Cactus Jack style.
Yeah, Cactus Jack.
He did that, didn't he, in a match?
Yeah, he did.
All right, let's get back to
what you don't do is let the hurt dude wrestle around the hurt dude, I think is the main point we were trying to make.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so then we move on because we have Keith Lee versus Orton. Orton takes him into deep water. Keith Lee blocks 2 RKOs.
I like the block with I'm just more powerful than you.
Yes, does get some offense in. Drew attacks Claymore. He does first Randy does eventually hit an RKO. Gets his win. Drew attacks.
No, he didn't get a win. Randy interrupted before he got the pin.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Drew interrupted before he got the pin.
Right.
I mean, he won by disqualification, but he did not pin.
He didn't get correct. Now, Keith Lee has stated since all of this, and again, Drew's leaving. He's told again, dude, you got to get out.
You can't just keep beating people up.
7th time today.
Yeah.
We're not having this. He said, I finally found my phone.
Yeah.
Not to mention, the driver left the ambulance. I don't know how I'm supposed to drive out of here. That steering wheel's on the wrong side of the car.
Yeah.
I don't get any of this.
Nothing makes sense to me.
But I guess Keith Lee is going to fight Drew because he's tired of him interfering with his matches, which I get it. You know what I mean? And I also am looking forward to that. It'll be the rare babyface versus babyface match. And so now you've set up, what do we got? Mickey, Asuka, Street Profits, Shinsuke, Cesaro, Lee, and Drew. Now, probably one of those will get a clean finish, but
still. You think one? I don't give you one.
Of course.
Wait, no, I'll give you one. The Mickey James loses.
Okay.
But no, wait. Natalya, Lana could interfere in that one. So no, I'm not. I'm going to go with all 3 being
not a clean
finish in one.
And then we wind up with as soon as Orton is conscious again, he lets Adam Pearce know that this is a shite show that you were running up here.
Yeah.
There's no protection here for the athletes.
No.
2-on-1 handicap match.
Says
Riot
the guy
Squad.
who just punted a bunch of old dudes in the head.
Correct. 2-on-1 handicap match. Riot Squad versus Shayna. And Nia watches, and Shayna dominates the match, gets to jawing a little too much with Nia, and Liv gets the roll-up pin. Then we get they flip us over to the Underground. Kevin Owens and Alistair brawl all over the place.
Wait.
To say something?
Well, when they first introduced it, how long did they brawl before the commercial? How much did I lose to commercial?
It was pretty quick.
It's like 30 seconds.
Right. Okay.
Then we go into a commercial.
Yes, anticipation.
That's stupid. It's stupid when they start matches in commercials. It's stupid when you start a match and then immediately go into commercial. How am I supposed to get into a match where I just, like, I miss, like, the first... That's like starting a football game and, like...
Showing the second quarter.
Yeah, midway through the second quarter, you're going to let me come in? No idea what's going on.
Yeah. And they brawled all over the place, and then they cut back to Nia Jax versus the Riot Squad. Nia winds up in trouble, and then Retribution comes in for somewhat of a save of her rep because she doesn't wind up getting pinned, but they do come in, jump everybody. And I didn't like the booking of Riot Squad one-on-one because I didn't think that they would let Shayna and Nia lose.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't feel like that Shayna lost anything because she was preoccupied the entire match.
Yeah. No.
And I felt like Nia did the same type of stuff.
Yes.
And so I didn't feel like she lost anything. So I didn't hate the booking like I did originally. Now, the Kevin Owens part we'll get back to here. They're still fighting, evidently.
Yeah.
Like you said, fight starts, commercial, Nia Jax match, back. So we have two commercials basically, or two breaks, while they still continue to brawl, I assume.
And then brawling with everybody else in the crowd.
Yeah. And then Bubba, what's that dude's name? 7'3" guy.
Baba Tunde. Slams
both guys. And do you maybe want to comment on this? Or?
It was crap, dude. It's crap.
Why are we using Kevin Owens and Aleister Black to get over some dude we're not going to put on Raw yet?
No, we're not going to put him on Raw. He's not going to wrestle nobody. Thank you. Great Khali too.
And I was excited for this.
I was excited for this.
Right.
For Aleister Black versus Kevin Owens.
And evidently they had a really good fight that we didn't get to see.
Yeah. What the hell?
Okay. Randy gets jumped backstage by Drew. Drew cannot find his ambulance, I guess, and he does manage to kick Randy one more time. He's going to leave because this is his foot's sore, I guess.
I guess he's tired. He's got Randy's face implanted in it.
Right. Murphy versus Dominic and his whole family with kendo sticks. Dom jumps all over the Thunderdome, and the sliding sunset bomb into the...
That was a great move.
It was great.
That was a great move. And he had a part in that. Murphy had a bigger part, but...
I felt like Dom did really well here. I felt like the match was well done. I felt like they got him spots where he could jump off of stuff all over the place. All of that was well done. I felt like...
Let me say, yes. Was that all well done? Did you do a good job of making Dom look like a passable wrestler? Yeah. Why am I having to see Dom look like a passable wrestler as the main event, and then have his whole family come out there and smack Murphy with kendo sticks? Why is this this is a middle of the show moment. I got a cut up Aleister Black Kevin Owens fight,
right?
But I get this in all its glorious entirety.
Wow, because it's funny you say that, because I thought that this segment almost cleansed my palate over the frustration of what happened with KO. But not for you at all.
No.
Wow.
Because...
Not that you didn't like all of that, but that could have opened the show.
Yeah.
That could have been anywhere in the first hour.
Yes.
That could have been before the main event.
Yeah, you could have had...
You could have flip-flop Orton and Lee.
Yes, that could have been the main event.
If you flip-flop Orton and Lee, you can't do the 5th backstage segment with Drew in the comedy of him being there. Okay, well, okay.
Yeah, and then, you know, I was thinking the only redeeming factor in this whole thing was I was kind of hoping that this was all done with finally. That my 6 months of Rey Mysterio versus, you know, back when it started, he had a whole different set of guys, you know, and now it's so now, drug on.
We've added Seth Rollins versus Dominic Mysterio in a steel cage in your face on Raw Monday night.
It's going to be in my face, all right.
If you think you're frustrated, imagine how Seth Rollins felt when he put in his 2 weeks notice after WrestleMania to let them know he needed to go home to Becky and get the house ready for a baby and be with his wife. They just keep at it. 'Cause Seth, I guarantee you, Seth probably thought last week when they said, "Hey, Murphy, you don't have to come this week.
Yeah,
Murphy's going to wrestle him this week, and they're going to end it with kendo sticks and all that. You got the rest. You're good. We'll see you after the baby."
Yeah.
Ring. Hey.
We really need to get Dominic over in a steel cage match.
Hey. The YouTube clips of Dominic's family beating Murphy with a kendo stick got up over 1 million. So we're gonna have Dominic main event this week again for the third week in a row. We're gonna put him in a steel cage. Sounds great. Who's he wrestling? Well, that's what I called you about.
Yes.
I was. What do you think about maybe if we look around and maybe what about you? Let me talk to Becky.
Yeah. That's when you hear something being thrown at him.
Meanwhile, she's in the background eating ice cream, screaming, "I know they're not trying to get you to come to work."
Yes.
I know. Get over here. Rub my feet.
Exactly. And you better rub them feet.
Yes. Okay. SmackDown is dipping pickles in ice cream.
Yeah.
I wonder what Irish women, like really Irish women from Ireland, eat for. Is it like Brunswick stew and ice cream?
I don't know what the comfort food is for there.
No, meat pie. Some form of meat pie, not Brunswick stew.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I think this is a good, interesting question.
But I won't ask Seth, because if you ask Seth on any of his social media things about Becky, he gets mad.
He gets mad. He's here to talk about CrossFit, baby.
Yes, the real addiction
that he has, not his child or his wife.
Right. SmackDown. Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns.
Speaking of cleansing the palate, here we go.
Yes, Heyman promo is wonderful. The tribe leader, he hits all the high notes. The Royal Samoan bloodline.
Puts over Jay.
Jay comes out, and Jay puts over Paul. My family goes deep with you. That's why I have love for you. And then Paul puts over Roman. He says, "It wasn't me. This was all Roman's thinking. I merely am a conduit for his ideas."
Which is funny, because last week Roman said, "This was all Paul. Don't thank me."
Well, he did say all I did was all I did was go make it happen. It all came. I worked for a guy. My guy that I worked for said, "Get Jay in that match." I went to the powers that be and made it happen. This all starts with your tribal leader.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Not just the companies. Yours specifically, because he's the leader of your family too, Jay.
Yes.
And then Roman says, "You don't have to thank me." He says, "We're family. This is your time. These next 3 weeks are going to be your time. But at the pay-per-view, it's not going to be your time. Don't look at the belt. Look at me. I'm going to whip your ass just like I did when we were kids. And then just like when we were kids, it's all love." And then that's when Jay says, "We're not kids anymore." And is interrupted because this segment was so good. The only thing that could have made it better was
dog food.
Baron Corbin.
Oh, yeah, Baron Corbin.
Baron Corbin comes out and says this is nepotism, clearly.
Can't stand people who abuse their power.
Correct. Sheamus comes out and agrees. Doesn't understand how you could, when something coincidentally happens where a guy can't make a match.
Coincidentally.
because I beat him up in a parking lot.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to prepare for what oddly happens after that? And Oos says, why don't me and Big Cuz take y'all on? We'll be the Bloodline versus the Mud Butt
line or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't get that part, but everything up until that was great.
Yeah.
We're going to get a match here. It's fantastic.
Roman never says nothing, hardly.
No, just that little bit about I'm going to whip, whip your ass.
Never agrees to the match.
No, he does not agree to the match, which is a key thing here. Now, Sammy is in the production truck, and he is upset about the picture of AJ and Hardy advertising their match
Rightfully
later
upset.
because they do not deserve to be in a match for the IC title because neither one of them is IC champions. And then Sammy accidentally sends us to commercial. AJ versus Jeff in the IC match. Sammy interrupts the beginning of it, again letting us know that this is a farce, which it is.
It is.
And then Sammy gets run out of there by Adam Pearce, who he's really got his hands full with these two shows. Backstage, Jey Uso is talking Roman's ear off, and it has the feeling of when Roman was told, go down to Jimmy and Jay's house and watch them because...
You got to go babysit them?
Yeah, and Jay is letting him know that he hit him like this and he hit him like that and he hit him like that. I think that's a little rascal.
Did we already have the actual match between AJ and...
No, they cut to that and then came back to it. Then we have the match, which is pretty good up until, of course, Sammy interferes.
Sammy rightfully interferes in a farcical exercise.
There should not be a winner because it shouldn't even be a match.
No, for a belt that should be his.
And Jeff gets the kick to the head, the haluva kick, and Sammy flees again. And Jeff, as we come back from commercial, we see that he has stumbled up the ramp and fallen, which I don't mind that they did this, but it was obviously somewhat of a shot at the other company for not taking care of their guy.
Yeah.
And I thought we could have done without that. Because even the segment they lead this into to excuse it was silly. But by the same token, hey, they've been getting hit with shots all.
Oh, yeah. So, give them back.
Whatever. But, okay, so then we wind up with Cesaro and Shinsuke and Montez and Angelo are in the championship lounge, and they have a little funny back and forth, to which Montez and Angelo let Shinsuke and Cesaro know that they'll keep watch over the popcorn and champagne in the championship lounge, as Cesaro and Shinsuke have a Lucha House Party match with leader Kalisto, Grand Metalik, and they have a good little match until Montez and Angelo hit the big screen, and it turns out that there is a huge party in the lounge, which distracts long enough for Kalisto to get the pin roll-up. I did not mind this. We got a little bit of really good wrestling, and we're setting up the match for Monday night anyway.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
I'm fine.
Jeff's in the doctor's office. He is merely dehydrated, which Sammy mocks until Jeff gives him the what for, and they roll around, and so somehow Jeff is able to compete in a state of dehydration. Take that, Matt.
Yeah. You're nothing.
Great wrestling till. Anyway, Bayley comes out next. Bayley sits down in I believe it was the Eddie Guerrero callback from after the Rey Mysterio stuff. I could be wrong on that, but it's the same. I'm in the ring by myself with a chair. She even keeps one elbow on the knee with the other mic in her hand as she's talking about it. And so I like that little thing that somebody put up on Twitter. I should have looked for your name so I could say it, but whatever. But whatever, you're unimportant. And I like this promo. She started with the woe is me and then laughed it off and said, actually, this was all my plan.
Yeah.
Of course. I loved every minute of it. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I like that they played into it. They leaned into it. Like, there is no, I knew what you were doing. Right. You were using me.
So I was using you.
So I used you, and it worked.
You kept me close.
I got what I wanted.
You kept me close. Well, look, you know what happens sometimes when you keep somebody close?
They keep you close.
Right.
And they use you. Correct.
Now, as she walks up the rail, we start with the Fatal 4-Way match to find out who will fight her at Clash of Champions. And Nikki walks by her, to which she promptly hits Nikki in the back with a chair.
Which I'm going to put on Nikki.
A heel is walking past you with a chair in their hand, and they literally just said they enjoyed using it.
Yeah.
And you kept your back turned. It's like...
When you were looking to earn a chance to wrestle her.
It's like, should I drive my car to the wrestling show and park in the parking lot, or should I get Ubered and just get dropped off right at the front door? I'll take the Uber.
Yes.
Knowing that if I park my car there, I'm going to get jumped.
The wrestling parking lot is the most dangerous piece of real estate in America.
Yes, by far. And evidently you're not allowed to press charges either.
No.
Right. So then we get Nikki. Nikki is... Alexa checks on her.
Seems very concerned.
They go to the ring. Not Naomi. Tamina and Lacey wind up in the ring. We have a 4-way match. It's pretty good until Nikki winds up outside of the ring and Alexa hits her with the Sister Abigail. Goes
perfectly done.
Yes, goes catatonic. Walks out like she's being called to somewhere else. And then we get another good little match that showcases Nikki's forensic style in this babyface feature. And she's
been hit with a chair. Her best friend's betrayed her, and she still overcomes the odds and 2 girls who are way bigger than her
and pulls it off.
Pulls off the win. It's good. It sets her up.
And she is formidable at Clash of Champions.
Yes.
And we have Bayley and Sasha coming out of Clash of Champions. And we have Nikki and Alexa coming out of Clash of Champions. And it doesn't matter who has the belt. It's still 2 good programs. That's the purpose. Why can we not get this type of storytelling all the time, all the way across the brand world?
I would say that it's almost because Vince McMahon doesn't have as much respect for the women's wrestling. He doesn't get as personally involved in the writing of the women's wrestling.
Yeah.
So they're allowed to develop storylines and not get them ripped up.
And I want to say this too, because I think that it's important to note, sometimes people can think that Vince McMahon purposely, we'll just real quick, the Mox stuff and how people thought, well, he just hated Moxley, I guess. That's
No, I don't believe that.
Stephanie McMahon tells a story in which she said twice she's had to tell Vince no to stories that were going to be on air. One of these stories was...
The one that she's willing to talk about,
the one that she's willing to publicly address, is that Vince wanted to tell a story where on air he was the father of her child as she was pregnant. Vince McMahon, ladies and gentlemen.
Carny folk, dude. He is willing to put any sort of a freak show in front of you if he thinks he will entertain you.
Out of control, people will watch that.
You know they did that movie.
Let that breathe.
They did that movie, The Greatest Showman.
Yeah.
And it does this idea. That's like the idealized. Go read about P.T. Barnum in real life. That's Vince McMahon.
Correct. Absolutely.
That is, I will take advantage of other people. I will,
It's crazy.
Yeah. Whatever I got to do. But he thinks it serves a purpose. Yes. Again, it does not do it just to do it.
Right. Now, then we get an introduction. We're getting these vignettes of a young lady who is being introduced to the show. And we have not seen her face yet, but she does have
legs
and shoulders and hips and waist and back that look a lot like what Carmelo probably looks like. So, to me, what Carmelo looks like, she looks similar to Carmelo, although you can't see her height. If you get, obviously you can see her height, but she's not with another person around.
There's nothing to compare it to that gives you scale.
We might, but they obviously can't do that, or else we'd know it was her right away or no, it wasn't. Okay. But anyway, then we get Morrison versus Otis in a match that is not really designed to be a match because the story we're telling is a... Remember when I said, why can't we get this kind of storytelling?
This was not what you were talking about all.
This was not it, because The Miz and Morrison basically give up a wrestling match here in order to get a lunchbox for the second time. Or a briefcase last time. They want the lunchbox this time because the Money in the Bank contract is in a lunchbox, they do believe. Morrison flips the lunchbox to Miz. Miz runs away with it like he's playing football, which I did appreciate him tucking it and running and holding his arm out like he was a Heisman guy.
Yeah.
Morrison then gets beaten by Otis in, again, the epic worm, elbow, Vader bomb combo, which... it's just amazing.
Everything but the worm part.
Correct. And then, of course, they find out that they have been outsmarted by Otis again. Because Otis has a lunchbox
in his briefcase.
Open, because if it was closed, it wouldn't close. The lunchbox itself wouldn't close.
Yes.
In his briefcase, outsmarting them once again.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then we get to the Firefly Funhouse, where we intro a new character, and it's supposed to be...
blatant bit of... they double pull the rug out from under us.
Right, because everybody thought we were going to get Alexa.
Yeah.
And we didn't. We get a parrot. But the parrot is not really the thing because the parrot, Bray forgot to poke holes in the box of the parrot.
That, sir, is a dead parrot. It's not a Norwegian blue.
And speaking of Vince McMahon, his satanic version of the puppet show comes on.
The nice version.
The nicer version of Vince, yes. Comes on and tells Bray that since he doesn't have a championship, I don't trust you to run the show anymore, and I've gotten you some help. And your new creative helper will be Paul.
Technical advisor.
Technical advisor. And he does point out what in the my house is going on around here. My house being hell. Mm-hmm. Vince lives in hell, so it's his house. He gives him a technical advisor, and that is a walrus.
Who has a vague resemblance to...
He looks exactly like Paul Heyman.
Yes.
And rumors being people leaving the company, complaining about Paul Heyman being creative and being uncontrollable. Vince does address these things in his own way. He had just let Gerald Briscoe go the day before, and people thought, why on earth wouldn't you continue to pay this man? Briscoe's
been your boy.
Right.
For how many years? We're talking 30, 40 years maybe.
Correct. And he was let go last Thursday.
Fired Bray's dad too.
Yes, same day. Same day. And so he comes on screen as a rebut as Satan himself, living in hell, and brings out the fun show that people like on SmackDown. He brings Paul Heyman in to supervise in Fake Land. I thought it was a bit of genius.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it was well done.
It was very well done. And there's a lot of pokes there. And I would in many directions.
I would assume all of this is coming out of Bray's head. Not Vince.
No.
You know what I mean? No. It's too clever to be Vince.
Yeah.
So I loved it.
The way it played out was way too clever.
Correct. I loved it. Okay, then we get the tag match of the evening main event. Baron Corbin, Sheamus versus Roman and Jay. Versus Jay. Roman doesn't show up early for whatever reason. Little Nate rings the bell. Don't really get that at all. But hey, it happened. Jay is formidable in this fight against the two men. He overcomes the odds once Roman's music does hit. It is a distraction that allows Jay to, being a tag team specialist, distractions are what they thrive on. He's won a lot of helter-skelter things. He manages to get the advantage over...
both of them.
Who does he wind up pinning, though? Corbin? Sheamus. He winds up pinning Sheamus. Gets Sheamus. He goes up for the splash onto Sheamus. By this time, Roman has sauntered to the ring and relaxingly tagged himself in.
Orange Cassidy style.
Tags himself in, but doesn't go in. Splash is hit. Now Roman gets in. It's a one move. Boom.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Roman now has 2 pins since he's come back, and they have entailed him doing spears only.
Yes.
No other physical activity. Just spears.
Hit chair.
Yes. Which is a great technique.
Yeah.
I thought this was well done. I thought this show was painless. I enjoyed it.
It advanced plot lines. There were a couple of weak spots like there's going to be in any two, but it wasn't like anything bad.
I enjoyed it a great deal. I had a good time. All right, so it's a wrap.
Yeah, sports entertainment.
Sports entertainment wrap for Justin, for myself, KP. Copyright 2020. Go on.